Death Note was one of the first psychological thrillers in the Shonen Jump magazine, and its fantastic anime adaptation managed to become one of the most popular animes ever released. Everyone who is a fan of anime has most likely seen Death Note, and if you haven't yet seen the series, please go watch it and come back to this video as I'll be going over some spoilers about the series. Death Note is a series dedicated towards two rivals with two different versions of justice and a hate to lose. From the first episode, we are introduced to our protagonist Light Yagami, who follows the same day-to-day life and views crimes taking place all around him. The opportunity to change the world via the Death Note is given to Light, and as he deems the world to be rotten, he takes it upon himself to become the person that creates the ideal world where criminals are punished for their actions. This leads to an all-out battle between the two chosen ones. Battle in anime and manga comes in many forms, and Death Note was one of the first non-battle shonens to give off hype and entertainment that rivaled some of the greatest action anime. The duel between L and Light is a rivalry that keeps the viewers excited throughout the entire first half of Death Note. The constant back and forth and the willingness to do whatever it takes to win is the dynamic of these two characters that made them so entertaining. The first interaction between L and Kira was the perfect declaration of war that portrayed to us what was about to unfold. Our protagonist instantly killing Lyndall Taylor with the Death Note, who was later just a death row criminal, was the first mistake our protagonist makes in this life or death battle. After this, L appears in front of the whole world unharmed and challenges Kira, who he believes to be nothing more than a murderer. The sacrifice of Lyndall Taylor truly foreshadowed the lengths L was willing to go for a simple clue on a case. What is right and what is wrong is for the individual to decide based on what they have gone through and experienced, and this episode ends off with the two of them stating that they are justice. Many of Kira's actions are considered to be wrong, however the same can be said for L, who in many occasions goes to extremes to solve a case. Both L and Kira use justice as a term to disguise their true intentions, which is to best their opponents and win. L even states within the series that he and Kira are immature and hate to lose. After L approaches Light at his university and comes out as the genius detective who is after him, he gets incredibly frustrated. This humiliation Light faced shows the ego and pride they both have. This makes a simple battle to win more complex and intriguing. Light's tennis match against L is a perfect example of how they are both trying to think in the opposition's mind to gain an upper hand in this rivalry. All the suspicions they have for each other are portrayed, and every hit is a counter to what they believe the other is thinking. L after this tennis game directly confronts Light and tells him that he thinks he's Kira, which shows how similar they both think, as Light previously said that the way to win is to strike first. The ability and willingness to act is a trait that L has in his arsenal that makes him a much more dangerous and threatening enemy. Throughout multiple parts within the story, L acts upon his intuitions as he believes it will result in him being a step closer to solving a case. A primary example of this is him detaining Light and Misa, who he claimed to be the two Kiras. Although this trait makes L a bigger threat, Kira acts upon what he believes to bring him a step closer to victory as well. This is portrayed many times as Light manipulates Shinigami, who have no obligation to help him to do his bidding, and the entire arc with Ray Pemba is a prime example. This is because Light confronts Ray and uses him to kill off all the FBI agents that were after Kira, causing America to call off their investigation. You could even mention the famous potato chip scene as Light tricks the entire Kira task force, including L. Death Note done an amazing job in introducing the two rivals and how our protagonist combats the pressure from the super detective in the first 14 episodes. In the next arc, the story takes a big turn as Light forfeits his memories of the Death Note and changes from the mass murderer Kira to the innocent Light Yagami before the Death Note. Light in what I'm going to call the Yotsuba arc is a completely different character. He shows a genuine fear that his detainment is a waste of time and that he should be out there trying to catch the real Kira. He later goes on to work with L to defeat the new Kira, and within this arc, Light shows something that he lost as soon as he got the Death Note: compassion. He shows a genuine care for others and disagrees with many of L's decisions, as L would do whatever it takes to achieve victory no matter what the cost. During the Yotsuba arc, L would want to sacrifice innocent lives to test the Death Note and would use Misa's obsessive love for Light to manipulate her, just like Kira. Light's change in personality truly portrayed how the Death Note and the opportunity he got changed his entire character. Light before the Death Note was the character we see in the Yotsuba arc, a kind person who shows a genuine care for others similar to his father. This changed after he picked up the Death Note and became Kira, a desensitized murderer who would do anything to create an ideal world. The series portrays Light's descent into the dark abyss that is Kira slowly as the series develops. Oba, the creator of Death Note, portrays how evil and malicious Kira is through many visual effects and character traits such as Light's maniacal laugh or sinister smile. Naomi Masora's death was one of the most underrated scenes in the entire series, as it truly shows how evil Kira actually is. Everything from his expressions to his actions portrayed this malicious persona that changed the way we perceive Kira as a character. The genuine compassion he once had was completely gone from the moment his memories came back, and this inevitably ended one of the most interesting and entertaining back and forth battles in all of anime, with Kira victorious. After L's death, Light successfully defeats all the current threats to Kira and is now ready to start shaping an ideal world. Countries are starting to accept Kira, and his actions are now considered to be justice in the public eye. Everything is going according to Light's plan until two new characters are introduced to the series that dramatically shift the story. Mello and Nier. Mello and Nier are the two successors to L, and now Light faces a new challenge that leads to the defeat of Kira. The first half of Death Note has been dedicated towards the battle between L and Kira, and during the second half of Death Note we see how Nier and Mello work together and use what L lacked to defeat Kira. Mello is a very straightforward character who risks his very own life in order to achieve his goal. As I stated previously in this video, L acts upon his suspicions, which gives him an understanding of something with the cost of putting himself at risk. This is something Mello portrays as well through actions such as kidnapping Light's sister, which resulted in him having the Death Note and finding out about the fake rules. Even though he had the ability to pressure Kira to retrieve information just as L did, he lacked the intelligence that L had, and this is where Nier comes into the mix. Nier is very similar to L in the sense that they both share incredible deductive abilities that allow them to capture certain pieces of information that others may have missed. This is the reason why Mikami was found to be ex-Kira and a prime suspect. What differs Nier from L is the fact that Nier shares the same lack of emotion and compassion Kira has. He would taunt his fellow members and put them in danger, as Nier only wants to win the battle between him and Kira, as to him this is just a game. Nier doesn't have the willingness to act that L and Mello have, therefore the both of them together equal a greater and better L that managed to defeat Kira. Our protagonist Light Yagami suffered the loss at the end of the story. The mistake from Mikami which caused Light's defeat wasn't the strongest way to end Death Note, however the entirety of Death Note was amazing and it gave us one of the most entertaining rivalries in anime that always kept me interested. The soundtrack to each character is one of the most accurate soundtracks I've seen in anime, and the fact that the directors managed to make a potato chip scene as intense and epic as it was never ceases to amaze me. If you enjoyed my analysis on Death Note, be sure to like and tell me what else you'd like to see in the comments below. Subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.